Hey everyone, Samantha Hildebrandt here with Type 1 Tribe. Welcome back to my channel. So this week I am headed to Kona, Hawaii for 6 days. And if you are a new traveler with Type 1 diabetes, this can be pretty scary. So come with me today as I walk through what I am packing in my bag with Type 1 diabetes. So I have traveled quite a bit actually already with type 1 diabetes. I've been diagnosed for almost 4 years. However, I have traveled a lot and I have traveled within the United States and also international. And there are some crucial things that you need to know before traveling with type 1 diabetes. It can be really, really scary because, as you know, we need insulin to survive. If we don't have insulin, we will die. And I know it sounds extreme, but it's the truth. And we need our insulin. And so it's really, really important to prepare when you are going on a long trip, or honestly, even a short trip. It's really important to prepare all the items that you need to bring with you when you are traveling. So first and foremost, I think the thing you really need to spend time doing is just preparing. And I am a list person, so I love to write out every little thing that I need when it comes to just like my life in general, but then also type 1 diabetes specific things that I need to bring with me on my trip. And traveling with type 1 diabetes is also kind of annoying because you have to bring so much extra stuff compared to like a normal person. And it is annoying because you have to pack all of it and it just takes up a ton of space. And so it's really important that you do go through this list. You make sure you have all the necessary items. You make sure that you have enough bags to put all your items in and everything like that. So I want to show you what I am bringing with me to Kona, Hawaii. Okay, so I am an MDI person. I am on injections, so I do not have a pump, which is kind of nice when you're traveling because you don't have to bring all of your pump materials. I just have to bring insulin pens. And so I am going to obviously bring my long-lasting insulin, and this is what I take in the morning. Now, the important thing here is to take more than what you need. So I'll be there for 6 days. I could probably get away with 1 pen. However, I'm probably going to take 3 pens. And that is really just for safety measures. I will not use the other 2 pens most likely, but if I take 2 other pens, then at least I'm prepared for any worst case scenario, right? Like I lose a pen or TSA takes one of my insulin pens or whatever the case may be. I mean, someone steals my bag, right, with my insulin pen in it. You need to have extra. They say that you should pack up to like 3 months worth of insulin, even if you're only going for like a week, because you just want to be extra prepared. I mean, you truly don't know what's going to happen on the trip. Like literally someone could steal your bag with all your insulin in it and then you're screwed. So make sure to pack a lot, separate it clearly, because if you don't want to get your bag stolen, then have all of that insulin gone. So separate your insulin, but make sure to bring extra insulin with you. Like I said, I'm going to probably bring 3 pens with me. I'm only going to use 1, but it's important to have extra insulin on you. That also goes for needles. If you're not an MDI user, I still think you should probably take a pen with you and also needles, because who knows with technology, and if your pump decides not to work, you want a manual way to give yourself insulin. And so if you have pens on hand, take your pens also, because you're gonna want those, trust me. You don't want your pump to stop working and then you not have a way to give yourself insulin. But if you're taking pens, you also need needles. So make sure to pack needles. Also pack way more than you think you will need. Pack 3 months worth of needles, which is going to be a lot of needles, but pack a lot because you never know. You're going to lose your needles. Maybe the needles are broken and they don't work, or whatever the case may be. Just pack a lot of needles. You're going to want to pack an extra CGM, maybe 2 extra CGMs, kind of depending on when you have to change your CGM next. So I wear Dexcom and I actually have to change it when we are in Kona. So I'm taking 1 for the actual change, but then I'm going to take an additional just in case something happens, right? My Dexcom falls off, I lose it in the water, whatever the case may be, I will have another one. Or this has actually happened to me before where I've put on my new Dexcom and it like sticks to my body and I have to like tear it off. And so you want to take extra Dexcoms for things like that. You don't want to be stuck in Hawaii or wherever you're going, whatever trip you're going on, without an extra Dexcom or whatever CGM that you're using. See, I'm on G6 still, so I still have transmitters. Also take an extra transmitter, because I have actually heard stories where people have lost their CGM in the water if they're going, you know, like if they're at a beach and they go in the water and it falls off. Well, guess what? Your transmitter is going with that. And so you're going to want to take an extra transmitter. If you have one on hand, definitely take it with you. The other thing that I would bring is over patches, because like I said, if you're going in the water, it's probably going to get soggy and wet. You're going to probably have to change your Dexcom. And so you're going to want to put over patches over top so you don't have to change your Dexcom. So this is just another little extra tip here, is take some over patches. Now, I also have a case that this is my like diabetes case, and it's really great because I put everything in here and then I don't have to like worry about it, you know, where it's at or anything like that. So this is my diabetes case. What I do is I put my 2 pens in here. So this is my long lasting. I'll also put a fast acting in here. I have a bunch of needles in here. So as you can see, a bunch of needles. I have bands that I can wear that say I have type 1 diabetes. So if I'm going on a run or a walk or a hike by myself, I'll wear this just so somebody knows I have type 1 diabetes, and if I happen to need help, I will. I have extra wipes in here so I can wipe my skin before I give myself insulin or put on a new Dexcom. I have extra patches in here. I have extra over patches from Dexcom in here. So I've got kind of like my whole, you know, diabetes bag in here. And kind of like I said earlier, you're going to want to probably put extra insulin in a separate bag just in case somebody were to steal this, which would be terrible, but make sure to put more insulin in an extra bag. But I also have my strips for my 1-touch meter. So that's another thing you're definitely going to want to bring. You're definitely going to want to bring your meter. You're going to want to bring an extra battery for this, and also, of course, the extra 1-touch strips here that I keep. And then we'll just keep it there. I also have, as you can see, my information there. And then I have my glucagon for emergency situations. It's right here. So you absolutely do not have to have a diabetes case like that. I do think it's helpful because they're made for people with diabetes. And so it just has all the necessary pockets, but you don't have to have a case like that. You can honestly just use one of your own bags that you have at home. But if you want to be extra special, you can get a diabetes specific case. But I really, really do think it's important to take type 1 diabetes bands and wear them when you're alone, because you never know what's going to happen, and you want someone to know that you have type 1. If you happen to pass out or whatever the case may be, it's important to wear these when you're alone. So this is where I'm keeping my extra sensor. So I'm actually checking this bag. So this is my extra sensor. Now you're going to want to keep your diabetes supplies in your carry-on, which is my backpack over here. You don't want to keep it in your checked baggage, which is really crucial information. However, this is my like backup of my backup. So I am going to be checking this, but most of your diabetes supplies should be in your carry-on. Okay, so I'm not finished packing yet, but as you can see here, this is my urgent Dexcom. And so this will be in my carry-on bag, because if they happen to lose my checked baggage, that would not be good, right? Because everything would be in there. So you want to keep your diabetes supplies on you at all times. So I will put my cactus case in here that has all that necessary diabetes supplies with my insulin pens, my needles, my Basquimi, my everything. The other important thing that you need to bring with you are snacks. So for starters, I have this fear that I will get stuck on an airplane for hours beyond hours beyond hours and I won't have food. And so I always pack so much food. My husband makes fun of me, but it's like a legit fear I have. And I don't know why, but I'm like, I don't want to be stuck on a plane and be like starving. Especially with diabetes, you don't want that to happen to you. And so I pack a lot of food. So I have Kind protein bars in here. I have Larissa's beef sticks. I have Chomp's beef sticks. And of course, as you can see here, I do have some, I call it Red 40 now. I do have some glucose tablets, and that is for emergency situations. If I go low and I absolutely need to take some sugar, I have that. But I also have, obviously like a granola bar will bring me up too. but I have a couple granola bars. I have an orange in here. So I have a lot of stuff to prepare for this flight. I always pack so much sugar because I also have a fear that like I'll go low and then you'll be stuck on an airplane, you know, worst case scenario situations. Obviously, the plane will have a bunch of juice that you can drink, or, you know, you can ask the flight attendant for juice if you're going low, but I recommend taking your own sugar as well. And so I have a lot of glucose tablets in here. So you're going to want to make sure you bring lots of sugar. It doesn't have to be glucose tablets. It can obviously be fruit. It can be juice. It can be really anything you want. So a couple cool things that actually can happen when you have type 1 diabetes and you're going on an airplane is that you are able to take juice through the security line. No one else can do that except for type 1 diabetics. So that's pretty cool. So you'll just have to alert them that you need that juice for medical reasons. So for example, if you're bringing it from home, just let the security people there know that you have type 1 diabetes and you need this for for health reasons. And what they'll do is they'll take the juice and they'll just, you know, scan it through their little system to make sure that it's nothing bad, it's something that can actually go on the airplane, and then they'll get it back to you. So that's a quick tip. You can take juice with you if you don't want to buy it once you get through security. I personally would just buy it once you get through security. I think that's just easier, but you can absolutely take juice with you if you want. They'll just have to check it out first. The second really cool thing that you can do with type 1 diabetes is pre-board. So type 1 diabetes is considered a disability with the American Disabilities Act, which means that we are allowed to pre-board. We need extra time on the airplane, and we actually do need extra time on the airplane because I have to like get out my insulin, I have to organize everything, make sure my sugar's out, all that stuff. And so you are allowed to pre-board. Now, you do not have to tell the agents at the desk that you have type 1 diabetes. You can just go up and say, "Hey, I need pre-board," and they'll allow it. Now, if one of the gate agents asks you what disability you have, do not tell them because they are not allowed to ask you that. According to the American Diabetes Act, they are not allowed to ask you what disability you have. Now, I don't really care if they ask me. I'm like, I have type 1 diabetes. Like, I don't really care. But legally, they are not allowed to ask you, and you could get them in a lot of trouble if they asked you. So if you want, you can just say, actually, you're not allowed to ask me that, but I do have a disability and I need pre-board, and they have to honor it. So just keep that in mind. I get a lot of looks actually when this happens. So also be prepared for judgment because it does happen. You know, it's because people with type 1 diabetes, we look normal. And so they're like, "Oh, you have a disability? Okay." And I'm like, actually, I do. I'm like, if I could show you the fact that my pancreas doesn't work, I would. I'm sorry. I can't like show you my pancreas. But guess what? I do not have a working pancreas, which is considered a disability, and I need pre-board. So I think Southwest is the only airline that you have to get a separate ticket. So if you're taking Southwest, you have to actually go up to the gate agent and get a new ticket that says pre-board. I believe all of the other airlines will just let you walk up when they call pre-board, and you just say like, "Hey, I have to pre-board," and they should not give you a problem. If they give you a problem, you can honestly report them. Not that you're going to do that, but they should absolutely not be giving you a problem. You are absolutely allowed to pre-board. So those are just some extra tips to keep in mind. I personally love pre-boarding because I don't want to have to get stuck at the back of the plane and then have to check my bag if I'm taking a carry-on, because we have all of our diabetes supplies. Like, you want to make sure you keep that with you at all times. So I would take advantage of the pre-board if I were you. You don't have to. I mean, some people don't like to because we're not handicapped, right? We're disabled, but we're not handicapped. So some people don't like to take advantage of that, but I do most of the time. And you do have to really be prepared for the negative looks, because when you walk up under disabilities, a lot of people will just like glare at you because they're like, "Oh, this girl's taking advantage." But it's kind of crap, because I'm like, I am not taking advantage. I was like, you guys have no idea what I go through every day with my diabetes. So just keep that in mind. You will probably get judgment looks, but it doesn't matter because we do in fact have a disability. Now, my third tip is that you are technically allowed to take a third, or I should say maybe like a second carry-on bag, if you have a disability. So if you need a medical bag, you are allowed to bring one. Now, I have heard that people have actually gotten in trouble for this. So I don't want you to take a medical bag and then have to like somehow figure it out, because So I've never done this. I've never taken a medical bag. I usually just put all of my diabetes supplies in my one carry-on. But technically, you are allowed to take a medical bag. But here's the catch. Your medical bag has to have everything medical in it. And I don't necessarily know if our like Dexcoms are considered medical. I mean, they are, but like in terms of the airline, I don't know if they are. And so you can't put anything else in your medical bag other than medical things. And so for example, if you're like, oh, I'm going to put my book in here or whatever, you will not be allowed to bring that bag on. So make sure if you're taking a medical bag that it is only medical things in this bag, because they will ask to see it and they will ask to make sure that everything is medical related in that specific bag. Okay, now tip number 4. You can take a cooler with you, and that does not count as a bag, which is freaking awesome. So I actually just learned this recently because I am a mother now, and I actually have to take some breast milk on the plane, which has to stay cold. And so I had to take a cooler recently. And so I learned that you can take a cooler with all the breast milk in it, and it doesn't count as a bag, which is super cool. So that also means you can take insulin in your cooler if you need to keep it cold. So just keep that in mind. If you don't want to have to carry a cooler, you don't have to do that. But I just think it's a really cool extra bag that you can bring if you need to keep your insulin cold. Now, there are a lot of cool products out there that you can put your insulin in to keep it cold on the airplane. What I do is I actually have these little ice packs that I just put in a like little bag, and I put my insulin with it, and it actually stays cold. So that's what I do. You can honestly just take like an insulated water bottle, put your insulin in there, and then close it up with some freezer bags, and you'll be good to go. So this is the bag that I bring with me to put my insulin in, it's separate from the cactus case that I have. This is the freezer little bags that I bring. It's literally ice cold, and I will literally just put it in here with my insulin. So here you can see my insulin's in here. So this is my extra insulin that I don't necessarily need, but I'm bringing with me with some needles. And then I just put it in here with the ice pack, and it stays cold. If you want one of these bags, I actually have one on the Type 1 Tribe website. I think it's like perfect because it's small, you can just throw it in. So it's the perfect bag for diabetes supplies. Plus it says special, you are 1 in a million, which we are as Type 1 diabetics. So for my final thoughts, the most important thing is just take extra insulin, extra diabetes supplies. Most important thing that you need to remember when you are traveling with Type 1 diabetes. I hope you guys love this video, and I will see you all next week. Bye. Are you looking to lower your A1C and stay in range more often? If yes, then check out the ebook that I created below. This ebook is all things Type 1 diabetes. It has fitness and exercise tips, blood sugar management tips, diabetic recipes, insulin management. It's all listed in this ebook, and it will be a huge beneficial tool to you if you are looking to lower your A1C for your next A1C test. So go check it out below. I'll see you next week. Bye.